Thank you. My name is Rina Bartal and I'm from Israel. I'll introduce myself very shortly. But before I do that, I think I'd like the conventional aides here to the staff to introduce yourselves. So would you please just stand up and say who you are and who you work with?
Hello everyone, my name is Shazia Olivares. I am an intern at the Office of Representative Raul Ruiz.
Hi, my name is Daria Dulos. I'm with Deputy Daniel's office in Michigan.
Hi, I'm Megan Fairlands. I'm also with Congresswoman Debbie Cable's office.
Hi, I'm Zoe Petroff. I'm an intern at Congressman Adam Smith's office from Washington State.
Hi, I'm Sandy Tommy. I'm an intern with Minority and Foreign Affairs.
Hi, I'm Alana Spelman. I'm interning also with House Foreign Affairs.
Hi, I'm Kristen Myers and I'm from Mark Fasoni's office from California.
So you're all interns.
Nice to meet you.
I'm Deb Hobson and I'm a fellow in Betty McComb's office.
You are a
Legislative fellow.
legislative fellow.
She's from Minnesota.
Okay, so thank you very much for introducing yourselves. It's really our pleasure to be here and meet you all. And I understand most of you are interns, so it's a wonderful opportunity for you to meet us and for us to meet you. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about Forward Global Women. Actually, we were born in 2011, and the woman who initiated this thought and this vision is Senator Pappas from Minnesota. I hope she'll be coming in soon. There are several other meetings here in the House. She's attending with some of our participants. I met Senator Pappas in Israel in the year 2000, and we did several meetings with women in Minnesota and Israel. And in 2011, she actually wanted to take a switch and a change in our work together. And she said, how can we try and bring peace to the Middle East with women? And I looked at her and, people that live in the Middle East, some of us are here right now, envision things a little differently than you here in the United States. And it's a difference of looking at things, it's a different way of thinking, it's a different way of life. And when somebody says to you, why don't we bring women together and make peace, you should say, yeah, let's do that. It's not that easy. And we have to be honest and truthful. And it's a fantastic idea, and I wish we could do it. And maybe one day we will be able to do it. But the path and the road and the way is still filled with many boulders, and we have to jump over them. So actually, Forward Global Women is an organization that brings women together from the MENA region, that's Middle East and North African countries, Tunis, Morocco, Egypt, Jordan, Israel, Palestine, and the United States as an umbrella organization. And together, we have been managing to meet once a year and discuss issues that have to do with women in our region. From violence, women in violence, to 1325, the United Nations Resolution 1325. Like I said, to violence, to extremism, to refugees, to women's rights, to human rights, to women's empowerment, to education, and many other topics which we have discussed throughout those years. As for myself, I told you my name. I was born many years ago in Israel. I was brought up in the United States. I went to high school and university here, and I returned after many years to Israel to raise my family. And since I did not serve in the Israeli army, which is mandatory in our country, I decided to serve my people. And I became a politician. I created my own political party, a municipal party, and I ran for mayorship in my town. That was several years ago. I competed against the same person 3 times. I never made mayor, but I was deputy mayor. And I had a great political power. I had many representatives on the city council. And so I managed to create whole new agendas for women in my town. And just give you one small example, you know, men have budgets for sports. Tremendous amounts of money go to men sports, football, soccer, volleyball, and whatever. And in my country, in our towns, budgets for women were very, very small. And so when it came budget time, I just say to my friends, I'm not going to vote for 1 cent on your budgets if you don't vote for my budget. And that was it. And ever since, really, I'm saying as though it was simple. It isn't simple, and everybody sitting in this room and understanding politics know that it's a game of give and take, and that's fine. But I believe there's a string connected between women's sports and politics. There are a lot of rules of games and sports that are applicable to politics as well. Most important one is, and I'm sorry Luna is not here, but you can share that with her, I forgot. You know, in sports we play, we lose and we win, and we lose and we win and we lose. Women don't like to lose. So we need to teach women that after you lose, you play again to win. And that's a very important point. So that's what I've been doing. Later on, I chaired the Israel Women's Network, which is like an umbrella organization for women in Israel. And I've spent, I'd say, some 30 years of my life empowering women, mentoring women, working for women, and understanding that as women, we do not have special needs. I'll say that again. We do not have special needs. We have additional needs. We have needs like everyone else, and then we have additional needs, more needs. And someone has to take care of the more needs, and men don't like to take care of our needs, so we need women empowered to take care of our needs. And one day, when these young interns will grow up and will be adults, and I mean older women and more mature and grown up and older, maybe we won't need that anymore. Maybe men and women together will take care of our extra needs, special needs, and additional needs. So that's a little bit about myself and about Forward Global Women. And the way I very strongly believe that I've mentioned during the past day and a half that I don't care for the word empowerment anymore, because I think it's passé. Not the need to empower is passé, but we must find another word, because I think a lot of women are empowered already. We get to an empowerment point, and then all of a sudden we have this glass ceiling that's up there. So we start with a cement floor, and then we are empowered, and then we have a glass ceiling, and we're sort of stuck. And only when we'll have more women in all positions, everywhere, in decision-making of everything, will we not need to empower women anymore. But the question is, what do we do with all the empowered women? And there are many empowered women today. So it's a big issue. We can talk about it over and over and over, but it is not to be forgotten. We always take 2 steps forward, and I think the Hillary Clinton effect is the best evidence to that. We don't live in this country, so we're not involved in decision-making in this country, but many of us would think that because she was a woman, she didn't make it, okay? And it's too bad, because I think women like her carry and push and shove and drive hundreds and thousands of additional young women along. So we'll have to find other women role models and women leaders to push all of us women forward. And coming from the Middle East and being here, I would say that if we had more women in political positions as prime ministers, as presidents, as women, as people, parliamentarians or Congress or Senate, people who make the decisions, I think our world would have looked differently. So, we have hope, lots of hope. We work hard because we believe in what we do. We have some wonderful women that are here to discuss 4 topics with you today. Each one of my distinguished friends will give a 10-minute talk. The first topic will be countering violent terrorism.
Finally.
Countering violent terrorism. It's my pleasure to invite Dr. Noa Bakar from Egypt to give her presentation. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure and honor to be here and to be among you. It's not my first encounter with staffers, interns. Actually, we have lots of them coming to Egypt. We know how influential they are, how they can shape the decision-making process, and how they can shape the background of any senator or congressman. I'm Noha Bakr. I teach political science at the American University in Cairo. Our university has been established actually in 1917. Lots of American money has been invested in it. We have a very good program for Arabic, for instance. Many of the ambassadors I meet, American ambassadors, have learned their Arabic at the American University in Cairo. Before that, I worked for 5 years as the assistant of the Minister of International Cooperation. I was responsible for the U.S. Economic Assistance File to Egypt, which means the annual grant from the U.S. to Egypt. I have other activities in NGOs. I'm a member of the Egyptian Council of Foreign Affairs. I'm a board member of the Arab Network for Tolerance, among others. Today I'm here to share with you the story of violent extremism in our region, and I'll focus on women and violent extremism. If you can all hear me, I'd rather come in front, if it's okay with you. Okay? I have a loud voice in general. Okay. As you all know, I'm sure, and my experience with interns and my experience with staffers is that they are very well informed. I never underestimate how much informed they are. So as you know, our region, let's look at the map. We have the map. I share with you that we have Syria, failed state. We have Libya, a country that, my country, Egypt, has 1,200 kilometers borders, western borders, that is a failed state. We have Yemen, that is a failed state. And we have other vulnerable states like Iraq, like Sudan. And in my country, I have also Sinai that is suffering from having some buds of terrorism. Okay, this is the situation. Why did this situation happen? Because simply when you have a failed state, you have a safe haven. A safe haven for terrorists to come, to train, to live, to transfer money through it. So the first thing, or the major thing, or if we seriously want to confront and to finish the terrorists, is to have these states go back to work and to function. It's not easy. You need to end these civil wars and then build proper institutions. Who will build the institutions of these states? This is very important, because here we're talking regionalism or universalism. Can the United States do this without the help of the region, without the help of the influential countries in the region? This is one thing. So the broad line is, so long as we have failed states, so long as we have vulnerable states, we will continue to have extremists, because we will have a safe haven for these extremist groups. This is the first thing. The second thing I wish to share with you is women in this dilemma, women and extremism. Are women, when we talk about this, most people would consider them as the victims. Well, we should know, or we need to know, that we have victims and victimizers. Actually, women in our region, we have some of them are victims,
By victims, I mean that they are killed in terrorist explosions, and we have several terrorist explosions in our region and also worldwide. I mean those who are lost their sons, their brothers, their breadwinners, and also those who their sons have been attracted to ISIS and have joined ISIS, let alone that I consider at a certain stage that the victimizer was a victim, because they were attracted by the talk of the victimizers and they eventually joined the terrorist groups. When I talk terrorist groups, I'm not focusing on ISIS. Please do not think that ISIS is our only problem. And I'm sure you're all following the website of the International Coalition for Combating ISIS, which is an excellent website that gives figures. I follow personally because I work on this file. It gives maps, it gives who are contributing. We have 75 countries that are fighting terrorists. Okay, but is security the only solution? Mosul and the Raqqa has been evacuated from ISIS. Where did these 34,000 fighters go? These 34,000 fighters have among them 6,200 females. Did they vanish? They didn't vanish. They are just regrouping somewhere. Or they are just going back to their homes. There are no borders for terrorists. Terrorists will not stay in the region, and we've seen explosions worldwide. So women are victims, but they are also victimizers. How are they victimizers? Some of them, it's their culture and heritage. These are the families they came from. They are sons and daughters of such families. They eventually become also terrorists. Or simply they were attracted through the internet. And I wish to share with you a story of a Tunisian friend who works in an NGO, and she pretended that she is a caliber that could be attracted. And they started talking to her and talking to her. She started telling them, well, I don't believe in God. They said, well, you're very intelligent, this is a good idea. And that for 10 hours a day, they give her care, attention, etc., convincing her how to move, to join in Mosul and the Raqqa. So social network is a very strong tool that victimizers who are women, most of them, and one of the main functions of women in terrorist groups is to attract newcomers. It's like human resources. So because terrorism lives on human resources and financial resources. So they have to get the money and they have to get the people to succeed. So they attract women to them. Victimizers also are far from being suspicious. Women, you don't suspect women. So simply either they do terrorist acts by their own, or they help the men to gather information or to gather information about the security or among other issues that can help them to do the terrorist. This is another thing. Women are also very good in fundraising. They raise funds for those who are for the terrorist groups. Another thing which is very important, not only that they raise funds, but they raise children. They raise children that on this dogma, let alone this debatable issue whether they are there for sex or not, because we know that there is the story that some of these women, they go in order to please the terrorists because they need to complete their biological life or whatever. Okay, these are simply victimizers, people who went there, women who went there voluntarily to be part of ISIS or whatever. Why did they go there? We need to look at the roots. The roots, okay, there are common roots with men, like failed states, whatever, but also there are things that are specific to women that we need to work in. Identity issues. Simply, some of them are distorted when it comes to their identity. The fact that they have no role in their society. They are heroes, and they are going there imagining they will be heroes. So they will have a role. They look up to being part of this new paradise of society. So the fact that they are looking for a role. They go there with lots of hopes, and you'll be surprised. There is a manual. when they attract them, they give them a manual on how to move. Even this manual includes what should they pack in their bag to reach Mosul or Raqqa. It includes what to tell their parents in their last days, where they are going. I have 2 incidents for a boy and a girl who joined ISIS. One of them is a Sudanese, she's a friend of one of my students, and one was a guy, he's an Egyptian, he's a friend. They come from higher class. The Sudanese girl, she was a son of a minister. Her father sent his assistant to help her to the airport under the impression that she's going to spend good time with friends. So they are very well organized. We should not underestimate them, and we should not think that by freeing Mosul and Raqqa and by taking security steps, this will solve this sort of situation. No, we need to empower women, because by empowering women, we're helping them not to be victimizers, and also we're helping them that they don't bring a second generation to be victimizers, and we're helping them in general in the society. How can we empower women? We empower women by proper education. We empower women by economically empowering them, and this could be done, should be done, not only by our governments. We should work hand in hand, governments, civil society, and partners in development. In our region, we have partners in development. We have the European Union. They have programs. They give us the know-how, how to empower women economically, either through small and medium enterprises, either through whatever, giving them opportunities, education, scholarships, etc. Also, we have the USA in my country. We have a program called SEEDS, for instance. It's for small and medium enterprises to help women. We have programs for education, scholarships. Unfortunately, now that what we feel, or the vibes that we've been getting, that foreign assistance is not part of the foreign policy tools of the United States. It is shrinking. Okay. So the fact that it's shrinking, it's affecting these programs that are empowering women and are empowering development. And the fact that the terrorism is in our region doesn't mean that it stays in our region. There are no borders, let alone the refugees problems, but also there are no borders for terrorism. Okay, to give recommendations, or what do we expect from the international community? We expect from the international community to be fully aware that it cannot be solved only by security measures. It's good, security measures will do the first step, but there are needs to develop and help these countries that have these terrorist people, also to have proper programs that are that respect the culture of the region, and also to be fully aware that we need to empower women to play the role in hindering not only other women from being victimizers or from being victims eventually, but also the second generation from being involved into this. I'll wrap here to leave more time for my colleagues, but also I welcome your questions at the end. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to call Talia Sassoon from Israel to speak on peace efforts in Israel and Palestine. Talia, please.
Good afternoon. Thank you for coming to listen to us. I'll try to speak a little bit about myself, say a few things, and then I hope to jump into our topic. I'm a lawyer by profession. I worked for 25 years in the State Attorney's Office in Jerusalem. I used to represent the state and the government of Israel in the High Court of Justice for 13 years, in white panels, in various issues. So I'm very much familiar with criminal, civil, constitutional, and administrative law of Israel. I used to be the first prosecutor of Bibi Netanyahu in the first criminal investigation against him. I asked for early retirement, and then a few months after that I was approached by Prime Minister Sharon then to be a special legal advisor for the government of Israel and to prepare a report about the outpost in the West Bank, which I did and delivered to the government of Israel, and it's called after my name, the Sassoon Report. This report relates to the outposts and new settlements in the West Bank, why they are not legal, and what should the government of Israel should do with them. Remove them and stop build in the West Bank illegally. Not from an international point of view, which I wrote specifically in my report, but from an internal point of view, internal law that applies in Israel. Anyhow, there was a ministerial committee that was appointed by Sharon to implement this report. A few months after that, there was a disengagement from Gaza Strip, and 2 months after that, Sharon fell ill and relapsed in the political playground. Since then, there were another 2 ministerial committees to implement the report that I wrote. I was a special legal advisor for those committees. And none of them really intended to implement this because, so I believe, politically they didn't want to do that. Then I became a lecturer at Tel Aviv University, Faculty of Law. I gave there a course about defense democracy in Israel through law. For 5 years, I had my own law firm, and then in 2011, I decided not to work anymore, but to devote my life only for human rights and peace activities in Israel, and this is what I do until today. I became very much involved with human rights organizations, and I became the president of New Israel Fund, which is an organization, shared organization, joint organization between Jews of America and Israelis. This organization exists for 40 years, brought more than $350 million to civil society of Israel, and responsible for many good things, in my opinion, that were done in the state of Israel. About the Israeli and Palestinian conflict, my point of view of this through the years that I was a lawyer in the State Attorney's Office was mainly from a point of view of human rights. I didn't think then about the policy that the State of Israel should adopt. It wasn't my role anyhow. After I prepared that report to the Prime Minister of the State of Israel and presented to the government of Israel and talked about that all over the place in the world and in Israel, anywhere that you just name it, I came to a conclusion that the only way that is good is serving the interest of the State of Israel is a two-state solution. This is the only solution that can be done. All the other solutions that are throwing high to the air can't be implemented and don't serve the interest of the State of Israel. I am talking from a point of view of an Israeli, patriotic Israeli, devoted to my state and devoted my life to serve my state. I think that when you're being told that the two-state solution is not viable, you can't reach it. It's to persuade you that this solution is not there anymore. If you ask me, don't believe that. This is the only way to take care of the future of the State of Israel. Since the State of Israel was established through its vision in the Declaration of Independence as the homeland of the Jewish people and a democratic state. And Israel can't remain democratic and can't remain, therefore, the homeland of the Jewish state if it loses its position as a democratic state. And Israel can't continue being a democratic while we're controlling military control over 3 million Palestinians in the West Bank. In between there is approximately 400,000 Israelis. All of them are living without borders. Only the border is only for the Palestinians, not to cross to Israel. But those people are living for 51 years under military control, no democracy, no rights, no political rights, can't vote for anyone, can't control their lives. It's bad for them, it's bad for Israel, since it's endangering, eating Israel's democracy from the inside. So, in these days, in Israel, nobody is talking about peace. I don't know if you were aware of that or not. You are hearing things as removing the embassy of the United States to Jerusalem. You could see what happened since then. As I wrote a month ago in the art paper in Open, I'm writing quite frequently there. What it brought to us, look at the region, a war, terrorist activity in Gaza Strip and Israel that never stopped since that day until this day, with fire and flames and people killed. You could see at Jerusalem what's going on there. People are being stabbed from time to time. Every day is a new day. You never know how this day is going to be end. And I'm not talking about what we have problems with Iran and Syria in our north, in the north of Israel, in the north border. So, what I would like to convince you, as staffers here on the Hill, what do I want from you? If I am believing in peace, I should go back to my country and talk to my people. I do that. But what is your role? And I think that if you believe that the United States has a mission in the world to take care, in a way, of democracies in the world and achieving peace. And this is things that we've heard from the United States for many years, decades. So if you still believe in it, and you still think that you could change the world for good reasons, don't take your eyes from the Middle East, and don't take your eyes from the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. This conflict affects all the region. In my opinion, affect the world. And I believe that if it could be solved for the benefit of the two people, and I believe deeply in my heart that it could be done. And I'm talking from a point of view of a professional. I'm very much aware of the details. I'm not just a peace seeker. I know what I'm talking about. And I'm telling you that this could be achieved if the two sides would like to have it. And both of them don't want it now. The government of Israel says, we don't have a partner. The other side today don't want to meet the Americans. Our little organization, we had every year a delegation from the Palestinians. They're not ready to come this year. And not because of Israel. I was astonished. I thought because of us. Yes, I know, they don't want to cooperate with us anymore. I can understand that. No, they didn't want to come because of the Americans. They were told with that, don't do. And this is amazing in my opinion. Really amazing. This is a small organization, but you could feel the effect that comes from high above to the roots. And therefore, I think that every decent person who is looking to help humanity and help other people, and these peoples, both of them, could be helped. And it's for their benefit to achieve peace then. So you should think what America can do, what your congressman can do to push both ends to dialogue. This is what they should do. Dialogue, but a real one. Thank you very much.